What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I wasn't that pumped. Now I'm a lot more pumped. That was awesome. Thank you, the Ravenous Bee. I actually enjoy that a lot. If you noticed me looking over at the light, yeah, I am like super overexposed. Sorry, the lighting's really bad. I might go get a curtain or something and put it up if I take a break. But I guess just bear with me. Just sunny, whatever. Sorry. But let's see. Yeah, today. All right. Let me go over this. Hold on. I gotta wet my whistle. My throat's a little sore too. Alrighty. Before I say what's up to the chat, let me give a couple announcements. Sorry about yesterday. I was gonna do stream nostalgia, but I had to do something about my hand. I had to take my medicine for the first time in a week plus. So it it really fucked with me last night, and I'm not in super amount of pain or anything like that. I think it's just my body's there's a wire in my hand, so I think my body's trying to like reject that wire, and it's starting to hurt a whole hell of a lot. Um, so I had to do that, and I was just like, you know what, it's one or the other. And I was waiting on my buddy because he had a bunch of shit to do. He's renovating his house and everything. So I was like, hey, if you have time to come over and look at my car. And he eventually did for like a couple minutes, and that was it. So I still don't have an answer into what the fuck's going on there. So that was great. But yeah, as far as that goes, I'm still gonna do stream nostalgia. Probably gonna do both brunch and stream nostalgia next weekend. Probably on two different days, though. Today I am gonna do a stream tonight, 100%. Unless something really big comes up. Basically, I wanted to get this. I wanted to do this and kind of get out of the way, and also, G Man's been saying so much dumb shit that I just got to cover some of it. He's losing his fucking mind, and oh, excuse me. And the more he loses his mind, the more he loses his mind, the funnier it gets. And actually, man, I need my water. Sorry. I got this fucking CBE thing, and it's actually killing my fucking throat. I need to stop using it. Anyway, no, I'm not a cyborg, but I know a cyborg. Uh, as I was saying, G-Man's been saying a lot of dumb shit. I just want to kind of cover some of it, and then just go over that some lolcow bullshit, and we'll do that for Monday Night Morons. We'll get back on a regular schedule. As far as like how this is gonna go, I don't know. I got my appointment tomorrow. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen, and then after that, when I'm gonna be able to work, I don't know. So bear with me on that, and I'll have to schedule everything around that. So that means probably Friday night is probably going to be Friday Night Freaks. It's gonna be late because if I'm able to work, I'm gonna be working my ass off to make up for the time that I lost. So I'll need to work my ass off probably all the way through Friday, and try and get some rest after that. So we'll see. But other than that, we'll do brunch and everything, and then we'll get into this. We'll get into this one right now, and we're just gonna start off or pick up where we left off with this PragerU sucking off the U.S. military, and basically just giving all of the most common misconceptions about fucking about how the world wars went, and the United States military's role in freedom and democracy across the world, or the implementation of freedom and democracy or whatever. But let me say what's up to the chat before sorry, it's just reading Little Dickens. Let me say what's up to the chat before we get into this. All right, what's going on, Chris Durham Music Channel? I actually laughed at this. Looking at the small thumbnail on my notification, I thought the picture was a T-Rex dinosaur, pareidolia, or bad eyesight. I don't know. We'll let the chat judge. One for pareidolia, two for bad eyesight. There you go. 3 for lizard. Sucks at numbers and math. What's going on, Vila Vendetta? It's nice to have you here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry again last night because I know Vila wanted to be there. A couple other people wanted to be there, so I'm sorry. What's going on, Little Dickens? I feel love the live stream. I got another one planned. Don't worry. I'm gonna get a one in for like the winter as well. It's gonna be all snowy when I actually get out there, but I'm not gonna do that today because I got lots of shit to do. Oops. Sorry, that's one. Clone 1111. What's going on? How you been? Rafi's Tenders. Thank you for being here. And no, I am not a cyborg myself, but I do personally know a cyborg. And Little Dickens. Do what you have to do. We will be here. Thank you so much. You're very sweet. And I will I'll do my best to get healed up and still be able to entertain you guys. What's going on, Grampy Lobster? How you been? How's the new digs? I think I've seen you live in a little bit. I know you've been busy, but hell yeah. Can't wait to see you again. I cannot imagine a T-Rex with his tongue hanging out. Cannot imagine a T-Rex with his tongue hanging out. Is that what he said? Oh no, not this thumbnail. I think he's thinking about the hold on. Were you talking about this Cristero music channel? There we go. This one? When it was really tiny? If so, see, I'm gonna keep that up. Fuck it. I live around crazy people. Grampy. Well, welcome to the show. We got plenty of crazy people here, and these crazy people wear suits. They have a whole suit collection and animations. These terrifying, soulless animations. It's actually kind of ridiculous how soulless they make these fucking people look. It's a little bit fucking off-putting. And I have a bunch of examples of these like soulless characters. Let's see. I know I got the Ben Franklin one and that stupid ass little kid. What's his name? There he is. Look at that. He looks like he's about to steal your fucking essence. Although he's giving out essence all over Paris. Especially according to PragerU. Yeah, that was a great video. Honestly, that was an alright video just because it was fucking fun to watch. So talking about sex and booty. Anyway, that's when I got the stupid ass kid somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, when it was tiny. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That kind of made sense. A little bit. Andorians with black hair. Who are the Andorians? Sorry, I'm not that well versed in the sci-fis. Unless it's Star Trek: The Next Generation, then I know Captain Picard, right? Or no, that's Voyager, right? I don't know. No, yeah, Next Generation is Janeway, right? Well known for their artistic prowess. Yeah, dude, that's a really good fucking point. I love ragging on conservatives because, like, you know, okay, people like Ben Garrison and the dude who does like Freedom Tunes and the people who actually like do this animation, they do have like artistic talent. Like there is artistic talent there. It's just so stifled by conservatism that it makes it really bad. That's why when you look at people like Ben Garrison, Star Trek Aliens, friendly type, that's what I thought. Andorians. Now I gotta look up Andorians. But when you look up like Ben Garrison or Freedom Tunes, oops, let me see. for those of you who don't know who he is, I'll show you a little bit of this dude's art. He's basically super far right, political cartoonist, and there's no doubt that the dude has artistic talent. Okay, but if you look at this, everything is labeled because there's no creativity to it, really. Like, you can't, like, okay, Trump's a lion. He's going after the neocons. I guess it makes sense to have a hat. Like, why is everything... And when it's not labeled, like, okay, he's playing chess. Why is it an eagle? It's the USA. Okay. There you go. Some of these are actually, like, somewhat well done. I don't know why this is... as far as, like, political cartoons in general. But, like, actually the ones I'm picking. But you can see there's artistic talent. Now, whether you agree with it or not, yada, yada, yada. But when the problem that they have is they can't actually apply any creativity. They're stifled by this fucking shitty conservatism that it ends up making the message that they're trying to portray. It has to come from someone that doesn't have like genuine emotion about it. And if they themselves are trying to argue a point and they don't have genuine emotion about it, how can they transfer that to paper? Because you can't necessarily like create a mind, really. You would have to like have the emotion on your face if you're drawing an angry face, right? I think that's kind of how it works. Like, usually if you're like angry, like drawing an angry face, you're probably going to make an angry face yourself. I would think so.
A historic mistake.
Right.
That's probably what most Americans, not to mention most people around the world, would say.
Yeah.
But is it true?
Okay, we're talking about the Iraq War, by the way. Actually, let me just start this one. Oh, no. God, I don't want to listen to this fucking guy anymore. Oh, yeah, by the way, they're going to... we'll go to here. They're going to step all over their dick with the audio.
I'm Anders Fogh Rasmussen
They don't know how to
for
transition shit,
PragerU University.
Just listen.
The Iraq War
do it
was
that
an
time.
absolute
That's right,
disaster.
they didn't have an ad.
A historic mistake. That's probably what most Americans, not to mention most people around the world, would say. But is it true? President
Very
George
true,
W.
Little
Bush's
Dickens.
decision to invade Iraq in 2003.
Oh, this sack of shit. Oh, for
Subject.
a second, I thought this was Matt Gaetz. I was about to say, are you kidding me? I mean, chuds tend to look alike, and he's got heterochromia, I think. His right eye is actually brown, and his left eye is blue. Watch this. I don't know if you guys can see that. Do you guys like this setup better, or do you prefer this? One's in the chat for the OG security monitor lizard with a background, and two's in the chat for new with a bigger screen, bigger player. Let me know, guys. Let me do that.
To fair debate.
Ooh, yeah.
But
Big
it's important to
PragerU.
recall that at the time, the war had overwhelming bipartisan support in the House and Senate.
It's because it was making a
Dozens
shitload
of
of money
allied
for these
countries
fucking
joined
assholes.
the coalition. That support, however, quickly faded as casualties mounted and the war started to bog down. Criticism then turned to blame when the weapons of mass destruction that were expected to be found were not. Nothing seemed to be going right.
Yeah.
I know. I was there, serving as a lieutenant
Yes,
in the United
right.
States Army. As 2007 dawned, President
Sorry, never mind.
Bush faced a near total collapse in both public and political support for the war. He had to make an impossibly difficult decision. Accept strategic defeat and leave Iraq in chaos, or send even more troops into battle.
And do you know what he fucking chose? You guys want to know what he chose? I'm gonna see if I can fucking find this. Let's hit Brannigan. Let's see. What did he choose? This is essentially what he fucking chose.
One time you single-handedly defeated a horde of rampaging somethings in the something system.
The Killbots? A trifle. It was simply a matter of outsmarting them.
Wow, I never would have thought of that.
You see, Killbots have a preset kill limit. Knowing their weakness, I sent wave after wave of my own men at them until they reached their limit and shut down. Kiff, show them the medal I won.
And that's essentially exactly what the fuck happened. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? No, he wasn't just, sending wave after wave of people to die at the hands of Killbots. But it's essentially the same thing. Well, we could put more in there. How did that help? And in what way did that fucking help? Like, it just makes no fucking sense. You could accept the defeat and spend the money at home on shit like education so that if this shit happens ever again, the motherfuckers that go over there are actually, intelligent enough to be like, oh, yeah, we can fucking win. Brannigan's love's like Brannigan's law. Hard and fast. If it's PragerU, we might want that part of the screen to be small as possible. Yeah, that's what I was... Probably should have asked that on a different
He chose
video.
the latter. A decision that came to be known as the Surge. The Democrats predicted disaster. Senator Harry Reid, the majority leader at the time, said, "This war is lost, and the Surge is not accomplishing anything." Senators Joe Biden, John Kerry, and Hillary Clinton agreed. They were all wrong.
Bullshit. I will tell you firsthand, we wasted a fuckload of money over there. Absolute fuckloads of money. There was time after time after time where we would fucking sit around doing jack shit and just be like, why the fuck are we here? Now you could say that about any soldier in any battle ever, sure. But it was like, why are we here in a sense of, we need to just pull all of this shit out and get the fuck out of here. Like, why were we here this goddamn long? I mean, the amount of money we wasted could have... I'm sure there's a channel out there that could fucking show you exactly the numbers and what we could have done with all of the money we wasted in Iraq. But again, it was money wasted, and they were not. And Little Dickens, you're right. They were not wrong. We wasted money. We wasted lives. We wasted time. All for what? What happened? What had happened when we pulled out? ISIS, which was bound to happen. Just like Afghanistan, it was bound to happen. And like I said last time, Trump made sure that when it did happen, when that shit did happen, there was a good chance that he wasn't going to be the one having to save face on it. That's why he signed that agreement in 2020.
Led by General David Petraeus and supplemented by 30,000 additional troops, American forces and their Iraqi counterparts reversed the course of the war. It was one of the...
Was it General Petraeus or McChrystal? I think it was actually McChrystal that gave secrets to his mistress. He got honeypotted.
Most stunning and successful turnabouts in modern military history. In 2008, I returned to the country to see for myself.
You could turn Mogadishu into a sprawling metropolis with the war funds. I've seen some of those speculative analyzations of what we could have done. Yeah, there's so many things we could have done. Think about the amount of people that could have, free education, that could have gone to trade schools for free, nonetheless. It was McChrystal, yeah, that's what I thought. They could have gone to trade schools like PragerU loves. They could have gotten, tools and or become engineers to provide better tools for those trades. I mean, like you're not gonna necessarily build a better hammer, but you could build a better drill. There's so many millions of things that we could have done with all those billions and billions of dollars, and it's just to speculate on it is pretty much just gonna make you sad. But I'm still gonna do it. I agree, Lizard. I predicted it when he started those misbegotten negotiations. Yeah, nothing. It's all for.
It's
all to save face. It's all for his self-preservation. That's it. That's the only thing Trump likes to do is self-preserve.
Before, I could hardly believe the after. Attacks on U.S. forces were down 90%. American casualties were rare. Baghdad's most dangerous neighborhoods were secure. Al-Qaeda in Iraq was decimated. The oil was flowing again, Iraqis were rebuilding, and new elections were held. This was the Iraq that President Barack Obama inherited when he took the oath of office on January 20th, 2009.
Okay, so attacks down 90%, casualties rare, neighborhoods secure, Al-Qaeda decimated. Oil was floating, they were rebuilding, there were new elections. Granted, yeah, that's possible, but why though? Was it because of the surge? No, was the surge okay, this would make sense that it worked, because if you send a fuckload more people in there, then yes, this shit's going to happen. But that doesn't mean that it all went away. Al-Qaeda just turned into fucking ISIS. The oil was flowing. Yeah, nah, is it? Just saying.
Now, Iraq was certainly no Western-style democracy, but it was, as General Petraeus dubbed it, a functioning Irocracy. So much so.
That sounds absolutely fucking horrible. I mean, the mentality of civilians changed. They realized America wasn't the big help they pretended to be. Yeah, and let's see. Okay, so Barack Obama inherited all of that supposedly in 2008, right? If it took us 4 years after that to actually like get the fuck out of there, so that 4 years of us still fucking being there for too long, like that's kind of the point I was trying to make. You're right, Vila. The mentality of civilians changed. Eventually they're like, okay, you did your job, go the fuck home, and we didn't. We stayed. And we kept bombing and shit, and we didn't let them like take over their fucking country like we were supposed to. Like, it's not, even if there had been a Republican president, actually I can guarantee if there had been a Republican president, we would have fucking stayed in there, and it would have drained more and more money and more lives and pissed off the Iraqi people even more and more. I mean, to this day, there are people who protest outside of U.S. Army bases in Korea because they don't want the U.S. military in Korea. They legitimately don't want us there. So they will protest outside of these military bases. But the people who do want us there are the people who have set up shops. The Ville, which is just, the village that was set up outside of the base, and well, it has restaurants and shops and shit. Those people want us because they depend on the U.S. military to a certain amount. So you have division there, and the Korean War, the ceasefire has been going for almost 100 fucking years, like better part of 100 fucking years. So just to say that, oh, it's just gonna you're gonna win everybody over fucking just because it's the American exceptionalism again. We're so fucking awesome and great that people should just accept the fact that, you know, when we're there, it's awesome and great. And that's just not how it worked. It's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. Just because you happen to do like good shit, like I'm trying to think of a good example of like a good person, but you either have like really good people or like just like real shit people. I don't know. I'm trying to think of South Korea does have a very modern and powerful army, and they are backed by the U.S. military as well. Not only through like military support, but financially and through like weapons and things like that, and technology as well. And South Korea is, they're doing very well. I campaigned for Obama. I heard the views on Iraq from voters. What did they say? I want to hear.
So that in a February 2009 speech to Marines at Camp Lejeune, President Obama said, "The relative peace and strong participation in January's provincial elections sent a powerful message to the world about how far Iraqis have come."
Not really.
Vice President Joe Biden was even more enthusiastic a year later.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. The troops along the DMZ, they want South Korea in pocket, ready in case North Korea is an issue. Also, it gives us a base near both China and Japan. And Japan being our ally, it gives us a base, you know, close to Japan and China. Huh. What was I gonna say? So right now, the North Koreans and the South Koreans both have heavy artillery pointed at each other's capital cities. If war were to spark off, if the North Koreans, say, just started barging over and they got to the DMZ and started fucking shit up, they would trade artillery fire, and you would have millions of deaths in just a couple minutes. And there's nothing stopping the North Koreans from dropping VX or any other kind of nasty chemicals down that they want, because, well, they don't give two fucks about the health of their citizens. They'll have, you know, POWs go in there and clean it all up if they want. If they win, which they probably wouldn't. But, if that shit were to happen, we would probably know about it but they would be exchanging that artillery fire long before the DMZ.
In February of 2010, reached. I am very optimistic about Iraq.
Also, there's Unification Bridge across the Han River, and it's just lined with explosives. So as soon as the North Koreans start coming over that bridge, bloom, it's gone. Now they got to build a new bridge across the river. And if you're like, well, that doesn't seem, it's a massive fucking bridge. Like,
it's going to be one of the greatest achievements of this administration. To put it mildly, it wasn't. So, what went wrong? It started when the Obama administration got into a dispute with the Iraqi government over something called a Status of Forces Agreement.
Ooh, a SOFA
the Iraqis
agreement.
said they wanted to be able to prosecute American soldiers who broke Iraqi law. Appropriately, the Obama administration said no. We will prosecute our own lawbreakers. But instead of continuing to work towards an agreement, the president, against the advice of his own generals, ended negotiations. President Obama had said during his...
At what point did Trump ever listen to the fucking generals? Unless they were like, yeah, we need to go and you know, fight and do this, and we need more bullets, and we need this, that, and the other thing. We need more funding. That's the only time you would listen to him. You'd be like, oh yeah, war. That's what a president does. I'm the commander-in-chief. Because they were trying to suck his dick for new helicopters. Don't even get me fucking started because
his campaign that he would bring all the troops home. And the status of forces dispute gave him the perfect excuse to do just that. On December 18th, 2011, the last U.S. soldiers crossed the border into Kuwait. The United States military...
Hey, guess where I was on that day? Right there. Right in fucking Kuwait. It's true. I was chilling there. At least I think I was. Actually, no, I wasn't, because we got home earlier than that. Didn't we? Did we? I don't know. Close fucking enough. Oh, no. I think we got... yeah. Yeah, I was there. Uh-oh. The terrorists are coming. But yeah, I was there.
The Iraq War was over for America.
Close enough. I was there long enough. Iraq wasn't going to back down on prosecuting law-breaking Americans. Absolutely the fuck not. No, they have their own government. If the Americans are there and they're going to break the law, then yeah, like you should have some kind of agreement. Like they should be prosecuted under, Iraqi law. But I know, well as American law. But I'm not going to go ahead and say, oh yeah, they should, be under Sharia or whatever like that. But Iraq doesn't have Sharia law anyway. But it really depends. I mean, because they are two very different regions with very different ideas on how to instill, like, not social reform, social... What are you know what I'm fucking trying to talk about. Society. Form their societies. That's what the fuck I'm trying to say. Not to mention the Shia-led government was buddy up to their Shia brothers in Iran. Oh, did I miss this? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. What's going on, Bill? And, damn, I lost my train of thought. And, of course, the Americans are going to be like, fuck you. No way. Because there's that American exceptionalism. Obama was basically like a fucking conservative. He was not, this super far leftist Marxist or whatever these assholes want to fucking even talk about.
But it was about to begin again for Iraqis. Islamist terror, which U.S. soldiers had successfully crushed, returned with a new vengeance, most prominently in the form of...
So it was successfully crushed. Was it successfully crushed on September 29th, 2011? That's what I want to know. Because you said that we left Iraq on December 18th, 2011 with all of this crushed. Right? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong that you said that it was gone at that point? I wonder. Was the I guess the guy that threw an RKG-3 at us, and maybe he was really religious because he was too dumb to figure out how to use it, and while it did hit the driver's side window and would have killed everybody in that vehicle, it didn't go off. ISIS. Oh yeah, by the way, that amazing Iraqi government just kind of let that guy go. Yeah. Thanks, eyepiece. That was fucking sweet.
And the fragile peace between Sunnis and Shia fell apart. With America nowhere to be seen,
Obama.
Iraq's neighbor to the east and America's mortal enemy, Iran, filled the political vacuum, while ISIS brutally exploited the security vacuum. Initially dismissed by President Obama as the JV team, ISIS took control of a large part of the country. Its black flag soon flew over Mosul, Fallujah, Ramadi, and many other cities that American troops had secured at great cost.
Yeah. And you know what? That ISIS blitzkrieged right the fuck across here. All right? And for those of you who want to know, I'm pretty sure they're going to get into the ISIL at some point. Possibly. But this area, basically Iraq, all the way across here to the Mediterranean, down the Fertile Crescent, and over into Mosul, that's the Levant. That's the area that's ISIL. So when it comes to anybody saying ISIL, this is the area they wanted to control, was the Levant. They thought they had a right to it because, well, it's where civilization started, even though they went ahead and destroyed a fuckload of multi-thousand-year-old artifacts that we'll never get back. But they blitzkrieged across here, and when they took these cities, they didn't have the resources to rebuild the infrastructure, and they lost a lot of the support of the of the local population, because if you had running water or electricity, and then these motherfuckers come in and they start a war and they take over, and the only thing they're doing is killing people in the street, and they're not providing you with water or electricity, eventually you're going to start getting really pissed off, and you're just going to be like, yeah, fuck these dudes. Oh, there's the US and other motherfuckers. We got these other assholes coming in. Oh, okay, yeah, well, you know what? We'll support them. They at least aren't these motherfuckers. And I know at least somebody here has seen some videos of the women in burqas ripping the shit off because ISIS was defeated in their area, and they no longer had to live under such fucking rule. The people, the vast majority of Muslims are not ISIS, and that's why they were defeated. And, well, sort of defeated, spread around, I guess you could say. And, what he's not gonna, I guarantee what they're not going to say anything about is the fact that the both the Russians and the U.S. have, are backing forces in Syria having a fucking proxy war over this shit. And ISIS kind of came in and fucked with that, so they were both against ISIS at that point.
The war that George W. Bush had won, Barack Obama had lost.
How the fuck does that make sense? How does that make sense at all? If he had won, then that mission accomplished bullshit on the aircraft carrier would have been him pulling the fucking troops out. What is winning to these motherfuckers? If he won, he would have pulled the troops out. He would have made sure that happened, right? How the fuck does that make any goddamn sense? Good
The
God.
painful lesson is this.
Cold
Resolve
War Part
works, and
Yeah.
retreat doesn't. When
Predictable
America
and
commits to military
KGB
victory,
colonel
as
sees
it
power in
did during the
Russia. Yeah, no
surge,
kidding.
it can defeat its enemies. But when America retreats for political reasons, it loses. And so do millions of others. I'm Pete Hegseth for Prager University.
These are the same assholes that when we go into a country like Iraq or Iran and we bomb the shit out of it, the people who don't want any part of that war, who are refugees, they'll be like, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And you know what's more? If we don't start that war and they become refugees, we tell them to go fuck themselves. Don't act like you give a fuck about those people. You want them to stay there so that you can let them be in the goddamn sandbox and drop fucking rocks on their heads. That's it. Because you're a psychopathic, sick motherfucker. It's pretty goddamn
Decades
clear.
back in late 1972, South Vietnam and the United States were winning the Vietnam War decisively by every conceivable measure.
Yeah,
That's
what
not
happened?
just my view. That was the view of our enemy, the North Vietnamese government officials. Victory was apparent when President Nixon ordered the U.S. Air Force to bomb industrial and military targets in Hanoi, North Vietnam's capital city, and in Haiphong, its major port city. And we would stop the bombing if the North Vietnamese would attend the Paris peace talks that they had left earlier. The North Vietnamese did go back to the Paris peace talks, and we did stop the bombing, as promised. On January the 23rd of 1973, President Nixon gave a speech to the nation on primetime television, announcing that the Paris Peace Accords had been initialed by the United States, South Vietnam, North Vietnam, the Viet Cong, and the accords would be signed on the 27th. What the United States and South Vietnam received in those accords was victory. At the White House, it was called VV Day, Victory in Vietnam Day. The U.S. backed up that victory with a simple...
That's just mission accomplished on the fucking aircraft yet again. In the White House, that's what they called it. What did they call it in fucking Vietnam? What did the actual
pledge
troops,
within
generals
the
call
Paris
it?
Peace Accords, saying should the South require any military hardware to defend itself against any North Vietnam aggression, we would provide replacement aid
Communists
to
won
the
the
South
war,
on a piece-by-piece,
clearly lost
one-to-one
the peace.
replacement, meaning
Yeah.
a bullet for a bullet, a helicopter for a helicopter. For all things lost, replacement. The advance of communist tyranny had been halted by those accords. Then it all came apart, and it happened this way. In August of the following year, 1974, President Nixon resigned his office as a result of what became known as Watergate. 3 months after his resignation came the November congressional elections, and within them the Democrats won a landslide victory for the new Congress. And many of the members used their new majority to defund the military aid that the United States had promised, peace for peace, breaking the commitment that we made to the South Vietnamese in Paris to provide whatever military hardware the South Vietnamese needed in case of aggression from the North.
Oh, shit. Hey, remember when we did that in Afghanistan? And then all of you motherfuckers are blaming fucking Joe Biden now for giving up all that fucking military equipment? But you wanted to do it in Vietnam because the Vietnamese would... Oh, yeah, they're going to totally take care of that, right? It's going to be totally different. Like, you're not going to get a bunch of fucking communists that come in and, take right the fuck over. No, they're not going to get any of that equipment. That's not what's going to happen. No, it's not going to be a takeover like that. Not at all. God damn. It was... Nixon was desperate by this time because Watergate was blowing up in his face. Yeah, and he should have been fucking desperate because Watergate was blowing up in his face because he's a fucking idiot. He tried some fuck shit with the elections, and that's why he had to resign. He got booted out, just like Trump did some fuck shit with the elections, and well, he didn't get booted out. We have yet to see if there's going to be anything that fucking comes of it. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, a hurricane hits Mar-a-Lago or something.
North. Put simply and accurately, a majority of Democrats of the
I wouldn't
94th
doubt it.
Congress did not keep the word of the United States. On April the 10th of 1975, President Gerald Ford appealed directly to those members of the Congress in an evening joint session televised to the nation. In that speech, he literally begged the Congress to
Yeah, he tripped all over himself, didn't he?
keep the word of the United
Get it, little
States.
Dickens?
But as President Ford delivered his speech, many of the members of the Congress walked out of the chamber. Many of them had an investment in America's failure in Vietnam. They had participated in demonstrations against the war for many years, and they wouldn't give the aid. On April the 30th,
Yeah, a lot of you Republicans today participated in the January 6th rally. So
South Vietnam surrendered, and
Eye for an eye or
re-education
whatever.
camps were constructed, and the phenomenon of the boat people began. If the South Vietnamese had received the arms that the United States promised, would the result have been different? It already had been different. The North Vietnamese leaders admitted that they were testing the new president, Gerald Ford, and they took one village after another, then cities, then provinces, and our only response was to go back on our word.
like, did the Taliban not say that they were going to do fuck shit the moment we left? They already controlled 40% of the country. As soon as we left, they were like, yeah, we're going to do some fuck shit. And the only, you know what we didn't expect? The Afghan military to just defect. To just completely go, at least in, not in that, short of amount of time. Granted, they were likely going to lose regardless. It's just, they went for self-preservation rather than for, preserving the corrupt-ass government that they had. It was essentially just a puppet government. The Taliban has put out videos of these fucking opulent palaces that these motherfuckers lived in while, people are still burning shit in order to have a little bit of heat. There was tons of corruption. All of these fucking warlords were just funneling money into their own pockets from the United States. And that's the exact same thing that would have happened here. It's the exact same thing that happened with the fucking, the Taliban, in Afghanistan against the fucking Russians. Yet you're gonna put this video out and defend, try and make this your argument against people shitting on the Vietnam War? Get the fuck out of here. Can you guys, PragerU, have a little bit of fucking self-awareness or introspection or something. Like, it's so hard to take any of you people seriously. Anybody that watches this shit and actually takes it in as a serious, ideology or as any serious information, and not just as what it is propaganda, you need to go back to fucking school at some point. Somebody needs to teach you how to think. Somebody needs to teach you how to put fucking 2 and 2 together and, have at least a 30-second fucking memory. Because Afghanistan, the Afghanistan withdrawal wasn't that long ago. Shit's still going on, by the way. The Taliban is still fucking killing people in the streets. And then this video comes out October 26th. So yeah, a month and some change. Couple months. Are they essentially just relying on the yeah, you know what? That's a stupid question. They are relying on the fucking poor memories of their aging fucking audience. Hold on. That was disgraceful performance, was totally predictable. Trump had been saying it will be wild since early December. Yeah, that was a disgrace. And these, if you support PragerU and shit, if you support all of the insurrectionists, you support carrying a rebel flag, Confederate flag across the Capitol grounds. So get out of my country. There has never been a strong government, strong central government in Afghanistan. Back when they had Shahs, they were usually referred to as the mayor of Kabul. They are still tribe and clan-based societies. Yeah, even Alexander the Great couldn't fucking conquer Afghanistan. The Russians couldn't conquer Afghanistan. The Americans can't conquer Afghanistan. You know who's going to conquer Afghanistan? The Afghan people. In the end. You could say, oh, well, it's probably the Chinese. You know what the Chinese did? Hey, let's make some deals with the Taliban. Because we're right next door. That's it. And then China's like, yeah, we'll fuck you up regardless. Just don't come over the border. And the Taliban's like, oh, yeah. Well, regardless of how many American weapons we have, you're China. I mean, they're not that fucking dumb. Again, yeah. There's not... Afghanistan is... It's a can of... It's not a can of worms. It's a can of fucking... It's a bucket of slime eels. Good luck fucking getting them out. Alright, one more before we get back into it. Trump screwed over brown-skinned allies. First the Kurds, and now the Afghans who worked with us. Yeah. Yeah, he fucked over the Kurds. Free Kurdistan. I think I have... Oh, no, I don't have a Kurdish flag. Damn, I should get a Kurdish flag. That's what I really need. He did fuck over the Kurds. And the Kurds have been our allies in Iraq and Syria. I don't even, since since we saved them from Saddam's bullshit. Because if you actually go into Kurdistan, there are no trees. There's no trees in Kurdistan because Saddam Hussein had all of his troops go in there and cut down all of the trees. Like when we were, fun story, and then we'll get into this. So when I was driving through, and this will piss you off and allow you to understand how badly that orange fucking piece of shit fucked over some of our greatest allies. We were driving through Kurdistan. We were going to a prison. Okay. Now, I was military police, and one of the things we had to do was just go out. We were going to check on this prison. We were with a bunch of different groups, a couple NGOs, the Red Cross, and people. They were doing an inspection, talking to some of the prisoners. So when we went out there, everything was fine and dandy. It was beautiful land. Fuck me, that I would go back there in a heartbeat. I want to go see the mountains. Not necessarily prison, but I'll go see the mountains. On our way back, right? So we're in a convoy. We're in these big ass trucks, these MRAPs. And I'm sitting in the turret, and I'm going back and forth. And I had to use I didn't have my automatic turret. I had to use the normal crank, right? Well, I'm using the crank and going back and forth and, scanning my sector. And then all of a sudden, like, chunk. I was like, uh-oh. Well, my turret's stuck. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I call down. I'm like, hey, my fucking turret's stuck. The gear popped off. Well, it's like, oh, shit. Well, I'm fucked. So when I start calling that in, they're like, okay, well, we got to slow down anyway. We're having a little trouble with our vehicle up front. Well, we ended up having like 3 or 4 vehicles that went down all at the same point. We were pulled off on the side of a fucking highway in Kurdistan, right? In the middle of fucking nowhere. Well, we're pulled out in front of this, there's this building right nearby. And this dude rolls up and he's like, hey, parks at the building. He's like, hey, what's going on? We talked to him through the translator and whatnot, or through one of our interpreters. And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, hey, if you need any help, if you want any tools, I'm a diesel mechanic, and you're like at my shop. If you want me, I'll just run on home and fucking grab all my tools. So like, yeah, shit, anything you can. So he did exactly that. Jumped in his car, went and fucking grabbed his tools, came back, and helped us out while we were waiting on wreckers to come out there. They didn't get out there for the longest fucking time, I think because a couple other people were off in some emergency, like they had an emergency elsewhere, and then I think one of them either broke down or like got stuck because it wasn't an easy place to get to. It ended up being a huge shit show. But this guy just rolled up and he was willing to just be like, hey, it's the American military. Hey, I'll help you out. I'll give you some fucking tools to get you guys, the hell out of here. What's going on? And he just chilled there until the fucking wreckers came up, and finally got us the fuck out of there. But that's what they're willing to do. They just see us and they're like, oh fuck, that's the hearts and minds that we were trying to win in Iraq. They were supposedly trying to win in Iraq, but instead we just kind of blew them out of people's skulls, one way or another. And when we abandoned those people, if we were to abandon that guy and be like, no, fuck you, get the fuck away, and treat him like shit, if we were to do that, then what would we have gained? We would have gained probably 5 enemies because that guy would have just been like, yeah, the fucking Americans were dicks to me. They were a bunch of fucking pieces of shit, when I was just trying to help. Either that or they'd be like, fuck that unit. Don't anybody ever help that unit. But that's a different aside. And it's just a little story from my past for you guys. But it just shows that if even just some random civilian were to help us and we abandon the government, what does that say? Like, really, what does that say? Go find a Kurdish person and talk to him. Sorry. All right.
The U.S. did not resupply the South Vietnamese as we had promised. It was then that the North Vietnamese knew they were on the road to South Vietnam's capital city, Saigon that would
It's very true, Little Dickens. Saddam's Arabization of the Kurds areas was nothing short of cultural genocide. Yeah, it was genocide. It's killing of hundreds of thousands of people.
soon be renamed
Through chemical weapons as well.
Ho Chi Minh City. Former Arkansas Senator William Fulbright, who had been the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations
Learned about the
Committee,
Kurds from Metal
made
Gear
a
Solid
public statement
1
about
when I
the
was in
surrender of
7th
South
grade.
Vietnam. He said
Weird
this,
introduction. Yeah, a little,
I am no more
a little bit,
distressed
but
than I would be about Arkansas losing a football game to Texas. The U.S. knew that North Vietnam would violate the Accords, and so we planned for it. What we did not know was that our own Congress would violate the Accords, and violate them, of all things, on behalf of the North Vietnamese. That's what happened. I'm Bruce Hershenson.
Countryside, 250,000 died there. 2 million Vietnamese fled the country, sailing South China Sea. The communist government and the communist economic theories, for which it sacrificed so many of its citizens.
Mention the Korean War today, and most people.
Wait. What? 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 Today, Vietnam still has a communist government, but it has abandoned all the communist economic theories for which it sacrificed so many of its citizens. Bro, that's not well, that's not mask off. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't understand how that necessarily makes sense. I get how I don't know how the Chinese kind of make it work, really, but Chinese, it's weird. Economies are weird in general, but it was. Oh my god. Oh, I don't even know how to unwrap that shit. So they have a communist government because communism is evil, but they have a capitalist economy. Vietnam is a huge private sector, right? Yeah, that's not communist. How would that be communist if Vietnam has if you have a private sector, you couldn't be a communist government. I mean, are they still under like the communist flag? Sure, maybe. I don't know. It's just, it could be the same thing as China, because China is kind of a communist country. I didn't mean to it was weird, but it's also not. So I don't know. Communist economic systems do not work. No, they don't. I've said it a million times. Communism will work on paper, but as soon as you add people to it, it falls right the fuck apart, because human beings are different. We have differences. And communism requires us all to be the same. No, that's just not how it works. If you want to say it has an authoritarian or an oppressive or dictatorial, if they live in a dictatorship, maybe. But a communist government that doesn't, with no communist economic theories that they abide by. How the fuck does that even make sense? So the government is what in the hell? I gotta clip this. I'm gonna send this, because this does not make any fucking sense. Oh my fucking god. Somebody please, help me out with that. Glasnost did.
Mention the Korean War today, and most people will look at you with a blank
honestly wouldn't
stare.
know.
At the time it was fought, just 5 years after World War II ended,
Wow,
everyone
it took you guys
recognized it as a
42
world-shaping
minutes to
conflict.
get
A
into the
stark
Korean
confrontation
War.
between the forces of
You've
democracy
mentioned it like
and
8
communism.
times.
Began on June 25, 1950, when Soviet-backed communist North Korea crossed the 38th parallel and invaded its U.S.-backed anti-communist South Korean neighbor. Within weeks, the communists had nearly absorbed the entire country. The United States at first was confused over whether it should or even could respond. America had slashed its military budget after the end of World War II and was short both men and equipment. It still had not awakened fully to the expansionist threat of Soviet Russia. The Soviets, buoyed by their own recent development of an atomic bomb and Mao Zedong's communist victory in China, sensed America's lack of resolve and encouraged the North's aggression. Yet within weeks, President Harry Truman rushed troops to save the shrinking Allied perimeter at Pusan on the southern tip of the Korean peninsula. By late September 1950, General Douglas MacArthur had successfully completed the Incheon landings and launched counterattacks. He quickly reclaimed the entire South and sent American-led United Nations forces far into North Korea to reunite the entire peninsula, only to be surprised when hundreds of thousands of Chinese Red Army troops crossed the Yalu River at the Chinese border and sent the outnumbered Americans reeling back into South Korea. Thanks to the genius of General Matthew Ridgway, who arrived to assume supreme command in South Korea in December 1950,
It is accurate, Lizard. The government calls itself communist, but their economy is capitalist as fuck. Okay. Yeah, that's the only way I could see it make sense. Is they're still under the communist flag, but it's really just... Look, it's Mr. Monopoly with a red hat, guys. That's all. That's the only difference.
over the next 100 days, U.S.-led UN forces pushed the communists back across the 38th parallel. The fighting was fierce. Seoul, the capital of South Korea, exchanged hands between communist and U.S.-led forces 5 times before it was finally secured. During the years 1952 and 1953, the war grew static, neither side able to deliver a knockout blow. Eventually, the conflict ended with a tense armistice in July 1953.
Okay, it's 1953. I didn't know the date. That would be... Yeah, it would be... It's, what, 68 years? Almost?
For over the next 60 years, a Cold War persisted between the Stalinist North and what by the 1980s had evolved into the democratic economic powerhouse of South Korea. Over 35,000 Americans died in the Korean War. The war marked the first major armed conflict of the nuclear age, and one in which the United States had not clearly defeated the enemy and thus not dictated terms of surrender. Was fighting the Korean War and restoring the South without uniting the entire peninsula worth the huge cost in blood and treasure?
Blood and treasure. Blood and treasure. Yes, I was 4. Oh my god. Wow. Anyway, blood and treasure. That's a really weird way to put that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't necessarily say if it would be really worth, because like, I mean, essentially, what I figure is this would just, Korea would have just become a piece of China, and we would just have allies, like we would have Japan. We would have allied with other areas in the region, probably like Hong Kong, Taiwan, and stuff like that, more closely than with the Chinese, so that we could actually have some kind of basis, some kind of leverage, and some kind of military forces available in that area. That's what I would say, because, well, if we didn't have South Korea being, well, the powerhouse that it is in both economically and militaristically, or militarily rather, then we would have to put those resources elsewhere, and there's tons of places. We got the Philippines, we got the Japanese islands. We would essentially just be pushed back to a perimeter around Korea, and we would be surrounding China. That's essentially where we would be at. I don't think the North Korean government would actually exist if it were not for if it didn't, its existence didn't benefit China, because China pours in money to North Korea, and they really don't get anything out of it. So unless it's like forced labor and shit like that, or medical experiments. So all like essentially the only reason China uses North Korea is for, you know, a boogeyman for the United States, and it works really goddamn well.
A natural dividend of
because videos like this exist, and these are, you know, played
saving
all
the South
over the
was
fucking
the evolution
state.
of today's democratic and prosperous South Korea.
China's buffer
It has
state,
given
yeah.
its 50 million citizens undreamed of freedom and affluence,
It's,
and has blessed the world with top flight products from the likes of Hyundai, Kia, LG, and Samsung.
Hyundai. I think that's actually how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm not sure.
South Korea is a model global citizen and a strong ally of the U.S., and stands in sharp contrast to the communist regime in the north that has starved and murdered millions of its own people and caused untold mischief in the world
Okay,
community.
you're young at heart.
Had it not been for U.S. intervention and support to the South, the current monstrous regime in Pyongyang would now rule all of Korea, ensuring its nuclear-armed dictatorship even greater power and resources. The American effort to save South Korea also sent a message to both communist China and the Soviet
You
Union
gotta hammer it home that it's nuclear armed. We are also nuclear
that the free
armed,
world,
guys.
under U.S. leadership, would no longer
Yeah, fuck.
tolerate communist
Yeah,
military
fuck that.
takeovers of free nations. The resulting deterrence policy helped to keep the communist world from attempting similar surprise attacks on Japan, Taiwan, and Western Europe. Finally, the Korean War
Hyundai.
awakened the United States to the dangers of
Hyundai.
disarmament and isolationism, and led to the bipartisan foreign policy of containment of global communism that in 1989 finally led to the collapse of the Soviet Union, and with it victory in the Cold War. The Korean War was an incomplete American victory in its failure to liberate North Korea and unite the peninsula, but a victory nonetheless, and not just from a military
Sorry, I missed that. I'm
perspective,
not going
but
back.
from a moral one as well. The reason 35,000 Americans died in Korea was to keep at least half the Korean people free. Korea did not have a single material resource that would have benefited America. The Korean War...
What? Korea has no material resource to benefit. Maybe not at the time, yeah, but no. Korea's got a lot.
merits more than a blank
Anyway,
stare.
let's
It
move on.
deserves to be
Fuck that.
remembered and studied with pride. I'm Victor Davis Hanson of the Hoover Institution for Prager University.
Ah, this guy sucks.
As an historian, I'm often asked if I could stop.
God, I hate this guy's face. Are you a historian? Or are you a historian like Vaughn? In the 1930s, the Republicans were isolationist, even after Hitler started expanding in other countries. Yeah. And what was it? It was like the 1950s is when we actually had the party switch, right? Because of the civil rights movement and everything like that. And the Republicans decided to take up the Southern strategy, and which the Democrats abandoned. And it was essentially just the liberals took up the Democratic flag, and the conservatives took up the Republican flag. And now that's essentially where we're at. I guess. Hanson is a highly political historian. He used to be at Fresno State. Okay. Oh, the other guy. Just south of Fresno. Okay. Reading his whole bio. But yeah. We were isolationist pretty much up until like Pearl Harbor happened, because we didn't want to get into the war like with our military until after Pearl Harbor, and we were just like, okay, you know what, fuck this, we're gonna fuck everybody up, and everything went into high gear, and well, we helped kick some ass. We definitely kicked some ass, but we were a big help. We weren't the ones who won the war, guys. PragerU.
One event in modern history from happening, what would it be? My answer is World War I. If there had been no World War I, there would have been no Russian Revolution, no World War II, no Holocaust, no Cold War. And that doesn't even consider the millions who died in the war itself. Following the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815, Europe experienced an unprecedented period of economic growth. Brought about by the Industrial Revolution, this new prosperity spawned rapid developments in science, medicine, art, and political philosophy. The future of civilization never looked brighter. And then suddenly, it all went up in flames. The fuse was lit in June 1914 in a street in Sarajevo, Bosnia. It was there that Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to
Hold
the
on, I wanna see where he's
Austro-Hungarian
going with this
Empire
shit.
was assassinated by a Serbian nationalist.
Right.
It should have been no more than a sad footnote in history. Instead, it changed history. Austria-Hungary, seeking to avenge the Archduke's murder, declared war on Serbia. But before taking this drastic step, it asked for and received a blessing from its powerful ally, Germany. Serbia, knowing that it had no chance against Austria-Hungary, called on its ally, Russia, to defend it. Russia agreed. To strengthen its hand, Russia solicited French support should war break out. France, ever suspicious of German intentions, assented. Germany then made a preemptive move to take France out of the war. The German command, having long planned this war, invaded France through neutral Belgium. This prompted Britain to join France against Germany. Suddenly, the entire continent was engulfed in war.
Okay. I was waiting to see if he was really going to gloss over it, because when it says like suddenly, essentially all of these countries had treaties against each other. That's why there's that famous headline that says war declared against or like Germany declares war against France, declares war against England, England declares war against Germany, and it just goes through, because when the powder keg was lit, all of these treaties went into effect, and they actually had to pull together and like, oh shit, well now we got to go to war. And when they had all of this new technology, the top brass were like, fuck yeah, well let's put it to the test. Let's see what we can fucking do. And I didn't know that Germany invaded France through Belgium twice. Like, or am I thinking it? Because didn't they go through the wasn't the Maginot Line World War II? And instead of or was that? Yeah, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Little Dickens. Did Germany invade France through Belgium twice? That's what I need to know.
The key player was Germany. Their strategy was to punch through Belgium and France and capture Paris before the French had time to react. This was the so-called Schlieffen Plan, named after the German general who conceived it. With France conquered, they would turn their attention to Russia. That Germany thought it would actually work comes down to one man, Germany's leader, Kaiser Wilhelm II. The Emperor of Germany from 1888 until his forced abdication in 1918.
All right. What I think I'm going to do, it was built after World War I to try and stop another German invasion. Okay, yeah. So, France, you might want to, like, help a buddy out. I don't know. I did like the crazy Warhammer 40,000 looking tanks they had. Well, I mean, that's true. I did like all the stuff that kind of like, I like the history that came out of it, not the death and destruction.
Wilhelm was a profoundly unpleasant, unstable, and vicious personality. By 1914, he believed that Germany should not only dominate Europe, but the
France
entire
and Germany
world.
tend not to get along very well, just saying.
Had the Schlieffen Plan worked, Germany most certainly would have. But it didn't work. The British and the French put up stiff resistance in the West. Russia did the same in the East.
Anytime PragerU
The
mentions
losses
Germany
incurred
makes
by
me feel uneasy. Yeah.
sides were
That's a good
immediate
point.
and appalling.
Kinda
The
feels like
widespread
they're,
use for the first time of
calling
barbed
on
wire,
somebody.
machine guns, tanks, and worst of all, poison gas, turns the fields of France and the steppes of Russia into vast cemeteries. By 1917, the war was at a stalemate. Who knows how long it would have stayed that way if the United States had not been drawn in.
Probably only like a couple years or something, because people were getting really tired of the fucking war and all of the death and all of the bloody brigades or bloody battalions that were going off. Whole towns worth of young men just being sent out to slaughter. Yeah, that has a little bit to do with it, but I don't know. Just a tad. Yes, the United States helped. Yeah, the United States was actually helping throughout the war with, was it the sinking of the Lusitania that brought us into, really brought us into World War I? What? Tired of death? No. Sometimes. Tired to death. Amusing since both were part of Charlemagne's Frankish Empire. Yeah, and somebody said it last time. World War One was just a it was a war between Queen Victoria's grandchildren or nieces and nephews or something. Yeah, that pulled the trigger. Okay, yeah, it was the Singing of Lusitania, which was, I believe, it was a merchant ship carrying arms or something, over to Europe to help in the war effort. And when that happened, I think it was a merchant ship and a lot of civilians died or something. Yeah, family fight between Queen Victoria's descendants. Yeah, I think it was you. It's a good way to fucking put it. The Singing of Lusitania, a bunch of people die, and the U.S. was like, okay, well, now we have to get involved. And this goes right back into World War II. They were talking about earlier. The U.S. didn't save the day. Yes, we provided a lot of help. We provided a lot of troops, but we didn't save the day. I mentioned this before with the Harlem Hellfighters. Brooklyn Bombers. The Harlem Hellfighters. Okay, that was lame. I'll fuss about it later. Alright, yeah, you take care of that, Pete McGee. Sorry, whatever. It was a passenger ship crammed full of gun cotton. Okay, yeah, I think it was like, yeah, it's like mistaken for an arms or a merchant ship with arms or some shit like that, and that's when we were like, go fuck yourselves. But yeah, we didn't. Like the Harlem Hellfighters were sent over there because the president at the time, I think it was Roosevelt, correct me, Dickens, I said this last time, was like, oh, well, we're not going to send any of the good soldiers. We'll send all of these black soldiers from Harlem, and they can go over there. And they kicked a whole hell of a lot of ass and got their nicknames, and whatever, but when they came home, they were just sort of treated like shit, of course. And the German embassy had taken out ads warning about it. Oh, shit. It's wild. But, oh, shit, what was I just talking about? All right. But, yeah, and when we started getting into World War One, yeah, we had a lot of equipment and everything. Wilson. I was about to say Wilson. Roosevelt was World War II. Okay. And then and then Roosevelt died and Eisenhower took over as president, correct? Because I remember, I think Roosevelt died in office right towards the end of World War II, and Eisenhower ended up the next president. I forget whoever took over. I don't know, but yeah, Woodrow Wilson was the president during World War One. And he sent a bunch of fucking troops over there, and a lot of them were not, they weren't our best. Truman took over, and then it was Eisenhower after the war, correct? At some point, Eisenhower is president. I know that. Let's just say. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna make a part 3 of this because this is taking me fucking forever to get through, and these are actually really fucking boring videos. Now we have Mr. Magoo as president for World War III. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, look, I might be left leaning or a leftist, what do you want to call me, but that means I really don't like Joe Biden. I totally agree. He's fucking redonk. 1950s. Eisenhower succeeded Truman. In the 1950s, Truman was elected for his own term of office. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay. So he took over, then he was elected, and then Eisenhower took over after Truman's first term in office, correct? Or only term in office. Thanks, Security Modern Lizard. Been listening. Got to go to my premiere. Oh, shit. Well, take care. You know what I'm going to do? You know what? We'll play your premiere. Do you want to do that? Actually, you know what? Damn. Because I'm actually, I'm about to take a whiz, and then we're gonna watch PragerU's latest video, and then I'm gonna sign off, and I will be back later tonight for you guys. All right. So if you guys want to check out Chris Durham's premiere, I think you should be able to send me the link, and I will send me the link in Discord, and I'll post it, and we'll put on. What time is your premiere? If it's at 30, fuck it. I'm gonna put on some Baby Rhinos. This is Chris Durham music channel. Music. If you guys like it, you can put on his premiere, and I'm gonna go over this new PragerU video for the next like 30 minutes, and then sign off and send everybody over to wherever. But yeah, I will be right back. I'm just gonna grab some coffee and use the latrine. Sorry, guys. Problem, dude. I love your music. Not gonna lie. Adorable. Much cuter than PragerU. Absolutely. Awesome. So if you guys wanna, if you're in the Discord, go to the video suggestions and check it out. You know he's a good boy. I love that little one. I love the one tripping over the boxes. That one's my favorite. Yeah, Baby Rhinos are the tits. Your music is good, Chris. Yeah, Chris has a lot of music. Little Dickens. When if you like, you're the one that liked the stream before the stream. I'm planning on when it actually snows and I can go back out there and film it again with it snowing. I'm gonna use Chris's music. Because I think that would be more appropriate. Yeah, I love baby animal. Me too. I love the baby rhinos. How can you be mad at a little baby animal? They're so cute. They're so sweet. All right. So I'm gonna do a part 3 on that. As for when, I don't know. It depends. Probably not tomorrow. More than likely not tomorrow. But we'll see. See what I can pull out of my ass for that timing. But we'll part 3 that. It's getting pretty goddamn redundant. So we'll see exactly how far we actually make it through there. But this came out. They premiered this shit today. And the title of this video is Should We Be Colorblind? Now you have an old white guy that deliberately, huge quotes there, deliberately got COVID and was like, oh yeah, I wanted to get it and see what it was like. It's not that bad. Even though he's probably fucking not going to be around, he's going to be around significantly less longer because of it. But, I don't know. Let me see. It's just repeating the same misinformation, but in different words, the whole video by the looks of it. Yeah, that's pretty much the way it is. America came in and saved the day. America is great. That would be good, but the visual pawn of a stream introing a live stream is perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate you. The fact that you appreciate that. It's awesome because that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, well, if I'm gonna do an intro to a stream, why not? And I'm in the woods. Why wouldn't I just film a stream? And I tried to get as close to like the mouth of the stream as possible, but didn't work out. It just wasn't formed that way at the time. And that riverbed that I go to changes constantly every time it rains. But anyway, all right, let me get into this for the next half hour or so. And this is Should We Be Colorblind? And way back in the day, let me get some water. I used to, subscribe to the colorblindness thing. Like, oh, we shouldn't see, skin color. But I've learned that you should. You should see skin color, and you should try and understand people's experiences based off of that skin color, okay? And that doesn't just mean, white people looking at black people or, people of color or whatever. That means everybody. Like, for instance, I worked in East Cleveland as the only white security guard in a high school. All right, in what's essentially like the ghetto. I mean, East Cleveland ain't that fucking hard. But anyway, I was the only white security guard, and I carried a pistol. There were a couple other security guards that we got in there that were like white dudes. One of the other guys was actually a Marine, and he lasted maybe a week. I don't know. The other dude, like everybody, even the staff was like, get this guy the fuck out of here. He's going to get his ass kicked. Ew. Some nasty stuff on the bottom of my fucking cup. And I felt I got plenty of discrimination. Like, I had plenty of motherfuckers that, like, anytime we needed information about, like, who was fighting or blah, 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 I couldn't go ask those questions. I couldn't. They wouldn't talk to me. As soon as I was in that room, they would stop fucking talking. And that's based on the fact that they saw me as the man, the police officer. Like, it just being in that little bit of uniform. And I wasn't even, like, the only reason I carried a pistol was, one, to protect the school from anybody that might have their own firearm, but two, to protect money, because we did money transports. We had to take, the few $1,000s or so from, the lunchrooms around the district to the bank. And that was it. So it wasn't like I was there I didn't have a firearm for any of the kids. I had a firearm to protect them and myself. But I couldn't tell them that. So, subscribing to, like, the colorblindness, I would have just been like, well, yeah, they're black, I'm white, whatever. Like, we have the same experiences. No, you don't have the same experiences. Because they made those decisions based off of their experiences. And I felt it, I had to try and understand that in order to better be able to communicate with them and be able to help them to understand that that's not why I was there. Like, I'm not there. I'm not some white dude just fucking trying to, be another cop. No, if I wanted to be a cop, I'd go be a cop, which I don't. But Jesus, so the colorblindness, it's a detriment, and the reason the reason PragerU wants their viewers to see colorblindness as a good thing is because they want to devalue the experiences of people of color. Because the vast majority, I'm sure, if you look at the analytics maybe, of PragerU viewers are probably white folks. All right.
There is little that reveals the moral
Ew.
confusion of the left, as much as it's labeling the term colorblind racist. Here are just a few examples. The University of California publishes a list of terms and ideas it considers racist. The list includes the term colorblindness. Psychology Today published a...
What else does it include? I would love to know that. Oh, we only got 5 minutes. My bad. I'm gonna slow this. I'm actually gonna put this on normal because he does speak at a fairly normal pace.
An article by a psychology professor titled "Colorblind Ideology is a Form of Racism."
Kinda, yeah. I just sort of went through that. It makes you unable to empathize with the experiences of someone of a different race. And then if someone tries to tell you, hey, no, it's a little bit different, you'd be like, no. You just don't understand. And that comes off as racist. Like, how does that not?
HuffPost
God.
published a piece titled "How Colorblindness is Actually Racist."
Yeah, he may be one of the few fucking presenters they have that speaks at a normal pace. Well, they have a decent amount of presenters, but they're just, especially in that other video, they were just saying the same fucking thing. It ignores the experiences of different races. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the same thing as saying, oh, well, I'm a person, you're a person, you grew up, you were born in a bathtub in Syria while the U.S. was bombing the shit out of you, and I was born on a Mormon ranch in Wyoming. We're essentially the same thing. Biologically, we're pretty much goddamn the same fucking person, but the same organism. But that's essentially where it ends. Our experiences are completely fucking different. And for you to be like, yeah, I had a pretty easy life living on my Mormon ranch. Yeah, I'm sure you did. I hid under that bathtub every day for fucking 2 years from the military you support. We kind of have different experiences. And it can go just as far as that, or we can get it to something much simpler. How many motherfuckers in my chat, how many people in my chat have been followed in a store? How many times? Take a guess. Take a wild guess as to how many times my ass has been followed in a store. Let's just say that. Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Why are they following me? It's the problem. Never. Lil Dickens says never. They're also old and have to pick their words wisely as to not call attention to the fact that it's misinformation, slow and deliberate speaking. So, yeah, that's very true. Yeah, been followed many times. Well, what's going on here, Stu? Welcome to the show. That's more for those of us in the U.S. I would say. Yeah.
In which the author gives...
There's a little bit more diversity, I would say, in the U.S. than there is over in Ireland or in the U.K. So.
3 examples of statements whites make
Just saying.
that are allegedly racist.
Especially there's also like a lot more fucking racist assholes that'll follow you in a shop.
I am colorblind. I see people, not color. We are all the same. The Disney company recommends that its white employees atone for their racism by challenging colorblind ideologies and rhetoric such as, "I don't see color."
Wait, what? I'm sorry. You gotta say that shit again.
Ideologies and rhetoric such as, I don't see color.
So it only tells this to the white employees? So Disney only tells this to the white employees. We know that for a fact. This is not part of their general corporate training. Anybody know? I don't know. Somebody who works for Disney. If only. Actually, if you work for Disney, go away. Stop spying on me. Anyone says, I don't see colors lying through their teeth. Yeah. Well, honestly, you're ignoring facts. You're just ignoring people's experiences.
Even the U.S. Army has gotten into the act. It sent an email to personnel saying that the word colorblind is evidence of white supremacy. I could give dozens of...
Again. Yeah. Because you're saying, I don't see color. I don't see any value in your experience as opposed to mine. They're both the same. They're both exactly the fucking same. No. No.
of examples of the left's Orwellian definition of colorblind as racist. Why Orwellian? Because becoming colorblind is precisely what people opposed to racism should aspire to. That's why Martin Luther King's most famous quote from his most famous speech is, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is the point you stupid motherfuckers miss. You're not actually taking into account any of their real fucking experiences, because a lot of their experiences are based off of race, based off of the color of their skin. You're not judging them by the color of their skin when they say, man, I really fucking hate being followed in a store just because I'm black. What? What? If they say that, if somebody says that, and you say, well, you know, I go into stores and I don't get followed, and you know, I wouldn't see it. I'm colorblind, you know. You're devaluing their fucking experience. That's the fucking racist part of it. That's why people get pissed off. Oh my God, you're not judging them by the content of their character. You're dismissing their character, because a lot of their character comes from the experiences that they've had. Hence, like I said, the experiences that I had in that high school working as the only white security guard with a gun in a school filled with black kids. Okay, I didn't mention that before. The population was pretty much 100% black. There you go, of the student population. So, all of those experiences, all of the experiences there have shaped part of my character. And it was based off of the color of my skin for the most part. Did the content of my character come into play? Of course. But that helped shape my character. And to say that, oh yeah, we're just going to put that shit aside, then what the fuck is it? What do you want to know about? What do you want to know about my experience there? What was it like on like a security guard or law enforcement level? It fucking sucked. I never want to do it again. Next question. Do you want to work retail again now that you're a fucking software engineer or a scientist or whatever? Fuck no. Jesus Christ. I felt like punching the face off of one of my fellow patients in hospital a few weeks ago for outright racist comment toward black female nurse. Yeah, you mentioned that to me, and that's disgusting. Like, for fuck's sake. She's trying to help you. Alright? She's trying to take care of you. Don't be fucking derogatory. Don't be a fucking asshole. Don't fetishize her. Don't refuse treatment because, oh, well, they have different skin color. Jesus Christ. I don't see color will only not be racist when the systemic racism in place is that's taught. Everything changes. Until that happens, I don't see color as racist as fuck. I agree. Should have punched them, Stu. It would have been worth it. Yeah, I mean, you were already in the hospital. Like, treatment's right there. How much trouble could you get in? I need to drink some water. PragerU completely fucking missed the point of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. Completely missed the point. Fucking... I wish nuance could come in like a pill, so you could just give it to these idiots, these fucking conservative dipshits.
The left's position is that Martin Luther King was wrong.
How?
But it's the left.
How? Literally take what I just said and show me how me as a leftist, I am wrong. Either that or prove I'm not a fucking leftist. There you go. Oh my fucking god, dude. I'd rather prove that's not my position.
Left, that's wrong. The colorblind person is the very definition of a non-racist person. Here's one obvious proof. The worst racists, defenders of slavery, supporters of Jim Crow laws, the Ku Klux Klan, just to cite American examples.
Oh, you mean like the modern Republican Party that you're a part of? I'm just saying, because I don't see the KKK or David Duke endorsing Joe Biden. I'm just saying. Fuck me, dude. And if you think you know, there aren't conservatives in America that want fucking slavery, and I'm not saying, yeah, of course there are fringes of every political party that'll be like, yeah, we want slaves of our political enemies. Yeah, Admiral Six Killer is one of those assholes. He's on the right. There's a good example. This dipshit Admiral Six Killer that I comment on all of his fucking, well, on a bunch of his community posts about how he's a fucking idiot, and this is essentially what he wants. Like, what was the one a few days ago? I mean, he'll delete all of my comments, whether I agree with them or not, but when somebody says that immigrants coming over the border only deserve hot lead, oh yeah, that'll stay up, but it gets a like. Absolutely. So, who do you think he supports? Do you think he's a Biden supporter? Really? Do we got to go to his channel? Do we got to look at some shit? I don't think so. I think anybody that you know, anybody that's feeling some kind of way, like maybe I shouldn't support this right now, you're starting to pick up on what are called, you know, context.
We're the least colorblind people. Color is the one thing they and all racists see. Precisely because they define people by their color, they justified subjugation of blacks.
There it is. I was fucking waiting for it. I knew he was going to do that shit. You just went mask off, you fucking idiot. The blacks. Who the fuck says the blacks? Who says the whites? Nobody, except for racist dipshits like you. Because you say the blacks instead of black people. It's more subtle dehumanization. You know who says whites? The whites? You know who says that? Racist black people. Holy shit. Holy shit, Dennis. You're a racist. You fucking idiot. Oh my god, dude. Oh, sounds like a good place to spend some time reporting comments. Honestly, not even worth it. The only thing he does is put out community posts like this is Facebook or some shit. And it's kind of weird because all of his shit is private. Maybe he does everything on Twitch. I don't know. I'm not even really that into it, but he's kind of a jack off. Was Jimi Hendrix white, for fuck's sake? Fuck off. Like, oh my god, dude.
Colorblind means one does not believe a person's color is in any way significant. Isn't that the ideal? Shouldn't we define a person by their heart, mind, personality, and as Martin Luther King said, above all, character?
Oh, you want to go by character, motherfucker? Let's talk about you. Why don't we go by your character? You're a far-right scum shit and propagandist that created a basically fake-ass university that only sources its own videos for its videos as the fucking source. You spread misinformation constantly. You spread lies that help devolve our democracy and the education of the general population across this entire fucking country. Your videos are detrimental to basically our fucking democracy. They're propaganda bullshit that you created. The content of your character comes out in your videos. Your character is a bullshit artist and a propagandist that's also racist as fuck and doesn't know how to go mask on and mask off in front of someone who's at least got a few more brain cells than your average fucking PragerU viewer, obviously, because I can call this shit out instantly. The content of your character is dog shit, and that's why I judge you as dog shit, Dennis Prager, because you are that. That's why I fucking said to your ass when you were like, oh, people gave me death threats. Of course people gave you death threats. When you're a scummy motherfucker, people give you death threats. People say shitty things to you. Your continued life is proof that there is no loving God. I said it in text, I'll say it out loud, you fucking fat piece of shit. You just think that you're above everyone else. Regardless of it's the color of your skin that gives you that supposed moral standing in your fucking head. It doesn't matter. You think you're above everybody, and you're not. You're a fucking asshole, and you can be judged. You will be judged. And if you want to go by your own religion, then just wait until you're judged. I can't wait to see you screaming down like a fucking meteor right into Satan's asshole.
Does anyone look into a mirror and see color? No, they don't. They see a human being. When a white person looks into...
Anybody ever put on makeup?
To a mirror, just...
Do you guys just go for like the human being color? Or is that what you do?
He or she think, look, a white person. When a black person looks into a mirror, does he or she think, look, a black person? Of course not. Yeah. When we look at ourselves...
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes that's called, existentialism. Sometimes you look and you're like, I'm a white person. Like, what does that even mean? Like, why is my skin white? Like, what would it be like to be a black person? It's called introspection. You look at yourself and you're like, I'm white. It's weird. I don't know.
We see John, or Jessica, or Tamika, or Jose. We see...
Fun fact. Fun fact. Irish Stu goes to the hospital dressed as a black nurse in order to pick fights. He said it before. I put it all together, guys. The lightest ivory. There you go. Because it's color. Because you have to take into account like color of your skin. And you know what hasn't been taken into account a lot in makeup? Really, really dark skin. Like I've seen a few videos, and with hair too. Like I watched John Oliver's thing on black hair, and while the end of it really kind of was just like, okay, well that dismissed it. It made me realize that, wow, like you can be discriminated against for just the way your hair is. Like, women, especially black women, spend a lot of motherfucking money on their hair. Jesus.
Ourselves.
Right. Yeah, I know you guys are going to watch this part.
Why isn't that how we would want everyone to see us? The left's insistence that color is important is one of the most racist and anti-human doctrines of our time. It was precisely when America was...
Little Dickens, yeah. There are definitely brands for dark skin. I think a lot more are for... a lot more like I'm talking about like really, really dark skin. A lot of the time, there's not anything for that, not any blending. You kind of have to go natural, and that's just kind of overlooked. Let me see. Oops, Chris Rock actually had a good documentary on black hair called "Good Hair." I gotta see that. Hey, what's going on, Lucifer Almighty? It's important for medical reasons. Yeah, that's actually really true. Understanding the color of somebody's skin, because yeah, like I can't see. I mean, if I have like a rash or something on my skin, it's gonna be all red and bumpy. But it would have to get to a certain point on, say, like if it were, say, like Ms. Parker or PGTV, if it were on their skin, it would be a lot harder to see the redness. So, you know, it might look bumpier, and then that's when, you know, people might take into account, okay, well, it's not that bad. Just because it doesn't look that bad, it must not be that painful. So, you know, we'll give you the minor treatment when really it's more advanced. So, yeah, it's a really good point, Lucifer. Thank you for bringing that up. Vila Vendetta. Only recently has actual dark shades actually meant shades for black people instead of a tanned white person. Yeah, that's kind of where it is. It's for really actual dark skin. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish. Some conditions affect some groups more than others. This is true. Black people get sickle cell more often than white people, and this has to do with the fact that sickle cell is an possible evolutionary adaptation to fight against malaria, because malaria is far more common in Africa, where it's warmer and there's more mosquitoes, as opposed to Europe, where it's colder. There are fewer mosquitoes, so malaria doesn't develop. Also, along with the fact that Western medicine that isn't as available in Africa and rural places in Africa, they're not able to get the same care, so their bodies have to adapt, and they adapt through evolution. And it's important because if you go into the hospital and you're black and they don't account for sickle cell anemia, you could essentially you could have a whole hell of a lot more health problems than let me see. Italians get sickle cell too due to the swamps in Italy. That makes a lot of sense. So, and plus, Italy is actually fairly close. It's right across the Mediterranean from North Africa. So it would make sense that, and traveling up again through the Fertile Crescent and through the Levant over into Italy, that those traits would actually carry, and those evolutionary adaptations would actually come about naturally. It's cold here, and we have tons of mosquitoes. Yeah, but they're more seasonal, right? I'm in Ohio, and there's rarely a mosquito now. And I just went to the woods yesterday. I don't think I saw one, but they're everywhere in the summer. Is there no eternal hellfire in hell, Lucifer Almighty? From what I know, and correct me if you want, Lucifer, it's only for G-Man.
Was most racist, that people's color was deemed most important. Why would we want to return to that time? Why is your skin color any more important than your hair color? Or for that matter,
why do you guys spend so much time calling everybody you don't like blue-haired?
the color of your shoes? Name one important thing your color tells others about you. You can't.
Well, if you're a conservative, I have like 50 different jokes that I'm not actually gonna say. Oh man. You made the mistake of allowing rain, you sack. I actually have that. Fun fact. No. I don't have the Divine Comedy. Unless, is Dante's Inferno still the Divine Comedy? Is that the same exact thing? Because the iPod that I still have that I took to Iraq and Kuwait, it has Dante's Inferno on it, and it's like the original original version of it, not in the original language and everything, but it's actually like the original translation or whatever. Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, so I definitely have Dante's Inferno. It's awesome. Blue hairs, those old ladies that couldn't get their hair dye right when it was growing up. Oh man, that's or when I was growing up. Yeah. That's oof. That you're dating yourself. All right.
Can't. Does your color tell us if you're kind or smart or what foods or music you like or what you do for a living? Does it tell us anything about the most important thing about you, your values?
Hey, Dennis Prager, give me an accurate number on this. How many of your viewers believe in the 1350 statistic? How many of your viewers push the 1350 statistic? How many of your viewers do that? How many of your viewers are just wholeheartedly all about that shit? That's what I really want to know. PragerU viewers, let me the fuck know. Because if they're about that, well, you might be barking up the wrong tree. How popular is this video? 1,000 likes to 16 dislikes. I don't know. It's pretty goddamn popular. Seems like a lot of people are trying to save face. Oh, yeah, that's me. When in reality, no. You are literally the complete opposite. These motherfuckers love some
color
projection.
tells us nothing about you. So
actually, it does tell a lot about you. If you're black, you've probably had a different experience than me. Right? If it doesn't 1350? 1350. Conservatives, like racists, love to point to the statistic that while black people make up 13% of the population, they commit 50% of the crimes, so yada yada yada. Oh, what's going on, Sydney? I saw Ms. Parker's thing. I'm sorry you were having a bad day yesterday. I hope you're having a better day today. And well, I gotta stream for later tonight too. So if you're looking for me, then hopefully you'll be there. But yeah, and it's this 1350 thing. It ignores systemic racism, and it has everything to do with skin color. So they love to tout that shit out and be like, "Oh yeah, well then why is this? If systemic racism doesn't exist, well it does, because that 13% of the population is a significantly more disadvantaged and has to fill in their economic deficit with something, which is crime. The number one, what is it? The number one cause of crime, or no, yeah, the leading cause of crime is poverty. So maybe we should fix that. Oh, you want reparations? Give out money to people? No, we can do it in a system. We have the technology, we have the ability, we have the resources to do it. You just don't want to. Shut the fuck up. I'm talking about giving people opportunity too. We also have to give people a lot of opportunity, because if you give people opportunity, then they can grow, and they can build the economy. That's what they have to do. But if you don't do that, then yeah, Prager-style conservatives are assholes. 100%. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Can we get? I got an idea. Let's get some more purple hearts. More purple hearts in the chat for Sydney. Just so you have a couple more. Dean Kruger, what's going on? Send Prager to Africa. Let him come run his mouth here. We don't kindly. Oh, we don't take kindly to his kind around here. We don't take. We don't take kindly to you. Oh, wait. We don't like your kind around here. Nearest town's back the way you came, Dennis. That wouldn't be too bad. Alright. Let me ask you this, Dennis Prager. Alright. So, a lot of the time, I've said, I've been military police. I was a police officer. I was a security guard. And a lot of the time, what happens is you get to a crime after the fact. You get to a crime after it's been committed. So let's call it a break-in. Okay, somebody broke into a car. I got a call and I go out there. We have the owner. He's standing there. You know, oh fuck me, this sucks. I got to file paperwork. Car's open, or broken window, blah, 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 all that good shit. Alright, so I talked to this guy. Alright, so what information do I need on the car owner? And in this scenario, in this specific scenario, the car owner was able to get down to the vehicle and chase the guy off. Well, he was barely able to, get down the vehicle before the guy ran off. What information do I need on both of these individuals? Somebody give me a small list of information on what I would need. And I can actually tell you straight off the bat from memory, because I've done this a few times. Fucking colorblind. Chris Derv is literally colorblind, I guess. Pick the purplest hearts you can find. All right. So what key features do you think would have to be relayed to a police officer like myself in order to solve this crime? That's what I want to know. All right. I'm sorry, kind of going over a little bit, but I do have some stuff I got to do, so I got to leave here in a second. There you go, Stu. Height, weight, race, clothes. Too easy. So, who is this person that I'm talking to? This is the person that, okay, I'm talking to the victim. The person who got their car broken into. Who is this guy? We'll go with my experience with the military police. This is Sergeant Quinones. Okay, Sergeant Quinones is... Sergeant Quinones. I'm going to get Sergeant Quinones' information. So what do we both know about Sergeant Quinones? All right. Based off of how I have described them. So Sergeant Quinones is a male. He has gotten his car broken into. So we know Sergeant Quinones is a male. Everybody give me what Sergeant Quinones looks like. All right. Think about it in your mind. Quinones, right? How would this person look? I swear in UK, once stop and search was made illegal by police, those kind of stats changed. We stopped looking for random reasons to arrest black men. Yeah, and the same thing happened in New York. stop and frisk was essentially for black and brown people. It mainly targeted black and brown people. What am I gonna say? Ooh, there we go. I was waiting for it. Little Dickens. Thank you. That's perfect. Sort of. What was I gonna say? Stop looking for random reasons to arrest black men. Yeah. And then going on broken windows policing as well kind of bleeds into there. But I'm gonna get on with this because I want to get out. I need to get out of here. Unknown. Some Hispanics are very light skinned. There's my point. Some Hispanics are very light skinned. Okay, so Sergeant Quinones. When I get up to Sergeant Quinones, well, Sergeant Quinones is a black man. Think of a very dark-skinned drag, all right? Dragnot. Whether you want to give him the beard or not, it doesn't matter. Very dark-skinned. I go up to Sergeant Quinones. Hey, what's going on, Sergeant? I just got to get your information for this so I can know like what the vehicle is, everything that happened, who exactly you are, in order to... some Hispanics have blonde hair and blue eyes. Yes, Marco, one of the guys that lived with one of my buddies, Guti. Guti was, or actually, they were both Hispanic. Guti was Mexican. Marco was Spanish. Marco was white as I was. Barely spoke English. His girlfriend was kind of cute too. But yeah, that's very true. So Sergeant Quinones is a black guy. So I'm going through all of this information, and one of those little boxes that I have to check is, is race for Sergeant Quinones. So Sergeant Quinones, looking dark as all hell. He's got a big old black beard, whatever. He looks like a black. He is a black man. Okay. And it says, okay, white, African American, indigenous, and then it says down below it says of Hispanic descent. Do I ask him? Do I just not fill in those two boxes? Do I just assume? Do I go, okay, yeah, well, he looks black. No. Quinones, well, obviously, he's of Hispanic descent. No, that's not correct. You actually have to ask. You have to ask. I don't care how dark he is. Okay, are you black, white, African American, like black, white, Native American, whatever? And I've had people be like, really? I have to ask. So okay, yeah. He says, well, I'm black, and I go, oh, I would have to ask, are you of Hispanic descent? Yeah, his name is Quinones. But then he goes, no, don't be fooled by the name. It's actually just my stepdad was Hispanic and my mom was black. So, no, I'm not actually of Hispanic descent. So if I were to put that in there and just like make an assumption, be like, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter anyway, I can obviously see that can fuck up the investigation, because when it gets to court, they can be like, well, the Sergeant Quinones that you interviewed, Specialist Lizard, is not, or is of Hispanic descent, but this particular Sergeant Quinones that's claiming that his car was broken into is not of Hispanic descent. So what happened there? Like, what was the issue? And my response, well, I didn't ask. I fucked up the investigation, and it could go out the goddamn window. So that's how that shit works. Race does actually play a fucking role in your life. Being colorblind is a really shitty way to go about it, because you can't identify these different things about people's lives. And if you just make assumptions based off of, like, cues like a name, Sergeant Quinones, for instance, what if I'm a new soldier? Better yet, I'll give it to you guys. You just got a new job. You got a brand new job. It's the one you wanted. You're like, all right, All right, I got this. I'm gonna be doing X, Y, or Z, and I'm gonna be getting paid out the ass. This is awesome. And you're like, all right, Mr. Miguel is gonna be in here. He'll come in. So Mr. Miguel comes in. You're like, okay, Mr. Miguel, and Mr. Miguel comes in, and he's Asian. Oh, fun fact, he's actually Filipino, and the Philippine Islands were taken over by the Spanish. Guess who learned that too late. So it would make sense that, okay, well, Mr. Miguel just happens to be Filipino. Just like my driver was Filipino. My driver in Iraq was Filipino. He was the driver, I was the gunner. Or was Filipino. Is Filipino, and his last name is Mexican, or is Spanish. It's Hispanic. I'm not going to give you his last name, because go fuck yourself. It's Spanish. So that makes sense. And he does speak Spanish and a bunch of other fucking languages, because motherfucker's a machine. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll get out of here. I've seen Mexicans that could pass for black that had no black family. Yeah. I mean, it happens. How many times, Americans in the chat, how many times have you been tripped up, whether it be in real life or seeing it in media, by a black person that you assume is African American, and they end up having like a British accent?
Why should anyone not be colorblind? To be colorblind means
You gave a fuck ton of reasons there, Dennis. Come watch this video, please.
one ignores the least important thing about you. Isn't that a good thing? And isn't the opposite position that your race is important racist? Those who revere the Bible must be colorblind. The only thing the Bible tells us about Adam is that he was created in God's image. If the Bible plays
Then why, Dennis Prager, is Adam in your own animation on your channel propped up and presented by a fake university with your name on it and funded through your efforts and getting contributions to it? Why is the Adam from the Bible a fucking blonde-haired white dude? If it didn't matter, why wouldn't you use some very simple animations like your shitty-ass color scheme? If he was just a man, he wouldn't be a blonde-haired white dude on your fucking animation. How much more do I have to spell this shit out for you, you dumb old motherfucker? How little oxygen did you get to your goddamn brain during COVID that made you, during getting COVID, that made you actually think this was a good fucking idea? Can somebody shut this motherfucker up? Or are they just too scared? Probably. I mean, I also remember things that happened on D-Day. They can't be colorblind in the medical field. No, you can't be colorblind. You have to, because, hey, anybody a ginger in the chat? You have a higher pain tolerance than, yeah, you have a higher pain tolerance, and anesthetic might not work on you for some fucking reason. So, also, if you were a ginger while you were younger, and then you grew into, brown hair or whatever it might be, you have to tell your doctor that, because anesthetic may not work on you. And the last thing you want is to be going through surgery while you're awake. Let's see. Okay, never mind. Oh, that's, one of my friends is white. but is the spitting image of Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. I have no idea who Phil Lynott is, but I gotta get out of here. So
Placed any significance on race, wouldn't it have told us Adam's color? And does God have a color?
Okay, never mind. He's switched. I'm gonna stick to it because you started with the white guy. Why wouldn't you just have the fucking stick figure?
That there were Christians who defended slavery on racial grounds only proves that there were Christians who distorted the biblical view on race.
Somebody send that to G-Man, because PragerU, on a far bigger channel and much bigger authority than him, is telling you that the Christians defended slavery using the Bible.
At the same time, it was Bible-believing Christians who organized the first large-scale effort in world history to abolish slavery. A final thought.
Hey Dennis, did radical abolitionist John Brown use the Bible to advocate for the abolition of slavery? You know, that guy you demonized in your fucking Robert E. Lee fellatio video? Yeah, go ahead, give me the cognitive dissonance on that one, you sack of shit.
Imagine that tomorrow every human being woke up blind. Would the world be more or less racist?
It would be chaotic. We have pilots and train drivers and other people surgeons, doctors, manufacturers, machinists. The world would go to shit. We would be fucked. We would have to rely on echolocation. Only there would be the survival of the fittest. So many millions of people would die. Billions would die. And it would be absolutely chaotic if we all went blind. God, you're so dumb. What a stupid thing to say. COVID, COVID didn't rot your brain. COVID was just sort of a cinch on the already oxygen deprived fucking decrepit veins that go into that necrotic fucking brain of yours, Dennis. Oh my fucking God. For PragerU, Dennis Prager is a giant piece of shit that should be judged on his character, which is that of a fucking huge dumpster fire and a piece of fucking shit. Oh, yeah, if you guys want to watch that. Oh, I thought Ms. Parker was going live. I guess not. Maybe. I don't know. If not. Yeah, I was about to say. I knew Ms. Parker was going live. Alright. 11,000 watching? Jeez. Man, I wish I had PewDiePie numbers. 11,000 watching. 11,000 motherfuckers. This dude, it blows my mind that this dude just makes that much. But, yeah, I know a lot of you guys probably don't want to watch the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial. I might watch a little bit of it just to give updates later. Yeah, his character is absolute garbage. His character is... I don't even know how to put that. Oops. Imagine something that's statistical. That is a statistical impossibility. Yeah, imagine this hypothetical. It's fucking idiotic. Well, not really. Hypotheticals aren't idiotic. He's not even entertaining. No, he's not. Vlad the Impaler blinded 60,000 of his foes just to fuck with the amount of people needed to look after blind people rather than killing them. Yeah. And imagine if he blinded all the people that needed to look after him. All right. Don't get how he got those subs. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just sort of like, I think PewDiePie was just sort of like a popularity, like an upward spiral. Because eventually he got to a point where people were like, damn, you have that many? Let's see how high we can get that number. Y'all ever been to like a ravine or a body of water or something, and you're just fucking around and you're like, how big of a rock can I throw into that? You know, what can I do? And like, what's the biggest splash we can make? And PewDiePie is that big splash. But anyway, I'm gonna go play some Ravenous Bean to play us out.
I would say Ryan's World definitely is
Oh,
directed.
it's the wrong one.
Let's see. But if y'all want to go watch Miss Parker's right there. Here, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Control C. Control V. Enter. There we go. There's a link in the chat. Y'all can go to Miss Parker. If you go to Miss Parker, drop some lizards in her chat and tell her that you're disappointed she wasn't there
But
for
that's
game
geared
night.
towards kids, and it.
But yeah, check that out. I will be back later tonight. Probably somewhat late. And by that I mean around like 8 Eastern, 9 Eastern time. It really kind of depends on what I can get done. Yes, my sub count is going up. Thank you. It is really going up, and I really appreciate everybody that helps me out, especially everybody like Irish Stew and Rav and Chris that provide music, and Slim that provide music, because you guys are great, and I love having your independent music here on the channel and being able to display it and give your guys's channels out, because you work hard. It's not an easy thing to be a musician, which is anyway. But all right, Little Dickens. Let's see. He was brutal and lived in a brutal time. Look what the Boyars of Wallachia did to his older brother and father. Okay, I'll look into that later. I gotta get some like water or something. Alrighty. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Go watch Miss Parker. Drop some lizards in the chat. And I'm going to play everybody out. Take care. See you later tonight.